Yeah. I
Can you see me?
I mean, now I'm just expecting you to come out and I'll be like, clever girl. It's the Big Access Podcast. Are you... Yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyways, okay, here we go. Hey everybody, welcome on into the Big Access Podcast. I'm Brock Benson, your host, and next to me we have Jeremy Stokes, our support manager over here at PDK. You guys may have recognized him from the last time that we did an episode where we were eating some hot wings and I about died. Almost. I don't think I've eaten wings since, actually. That was a very traumatic moment for me.
I actually got those spicy ones again like a week later. They were pretty good.
Did you?
Yeah.
I couldn't handle that, man. That was really rough.
I like those ones.
Yeah.
They were good.
Speaking of rough, how was the drive in today?
Well, you know, I was smart today and I used the train, so not bad.
Here in Utah, we just had Snowmageddon hit, and like feet of snow have hit us.
Yeah.
And it makes it, you know, it was looking a little bit rough on if we were going to be able to actually produce this podcast today. So
got lucky.
Yes, happy that you're here.
Yeah.
Taking the train was a good idea.
I did get stuck in the parking lot because there was, like you said, feet of snow, and I'm in a front-wheel drive vehicle.
Yeah.
I was plowing the snow with my Ford Fusion.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So last night I had to pull people up my hill with my truck. Today I went and got lunch for some people here at the office, and there was a U-Haul that had slid into the curb, blocking the entrance into the burger place we were going to. Luckily, I still had the tow strap on, so I hooked up and I towed it. I had to pull a full-on U-Haul out of the snowbank, but it is insane. I've been driving in four-wheel drive all day and all night last night.
Ford power, baby.
Yeah, Ford power. F-150 guys right here.
There you go. That's right.
EcoBoost.
Yeah.
Anyways, so today we're going to be talking a little bit about door position sensors and, you know, what they are, why they're important, why they're needed, and how to install them. And Jeremy here is going to be a perfect person to help us learn all about those because he is our support manager, and so he's always talking with people about these different things. But B, you've been an integrator yourself, right?
Yes. Yeah, I installed for a long time before I came over here to PDK, so I know a thing or two about DPSs and how to install them for sure.
That's awesome. Sorry, we're in a fitness competition at work right now, and I have to drink a gallon of water today. And it's a lot of water. I'm living at the restroom.
Is this your gallon?
This is my gallon.
Nice.
Yep. So I just drink from this all day. Nice. I'm halfway there.
That's what.
But anyway, so yeah, you have installed a lot of DPSs.
Yeah.
But you know, it's kind of surprising the number of dealers who are out there who just take for granted what a DPS is and what it does. Does it ever shock you?
Yeah, it shocks me how many systems don't actually use DPSs.
Yeah.
It's almost strange to me because if you don't have a DPS on your door, you don't know what state your door is in.
Is it really monitored access control if you don't have a DPS?
No.
Right?
No, it's not.
So talk to me. So for those of you who might be sitting here listening to this and going, oh, I'm in that boat, you know, this isn't meant offensive, but this is a really cheap, affordable option to help you be able to provide a lot of capability to your end users. So we're going to talk to you today about DPSs.
Right.
Jeremy, what is a DPS?
DPS stands for door position sensor. It's a little tiny relay with a magnet piece that goes near it that closes the relay when the door is shut. Generally is very easy to install. Just a couple wires running back to the PDK board and into the A and the negative inputs.
That's ultimately what it is. It is two contacts that when they're right next to each other, the magnets tell the software, we are closed. Right. This door is not open right now. When they're separated, it tells the software, this door is open.
Correct.
Right? Super easy to be able to do, install it. And that's ultimately a huge benefit because what can that sensor tell the system besides just when the door is open?
So off of the DPS, you can get a prop alarm. So what that means is in the software, you set up a timer that if a door is open and remains open for however long you set that timer for, you can get notified that a door has been left open. It never got a close command sent or a close to it.
But before you move on with that,
yes.
I want to talk about a case study that we did this last summer. That was a school that is a huge thing that they did. They needed to make sure that was there. Door prop alarms, because let's be honest, we were all dumb teenagers at school, and we all, did things that we are not proud of. And sometimes that is even propping open doors so that you let other buddies get into the building without them knowing. In my case, dude, I used to prop open the gym door all the time after class. So then during lunch, I could sneak into the gym to play ball.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yep.
And oftentimes that can let in other people. A perfect example of this is, and this story sounds really unbelievable, but I promise you this is true. It's back when I was an RSM. I had been working with a dealer in St. Louis who, ultimately we didn't win the access control job. The job was a church that had a school attached to it, and they had a PDK system in there. The original installer did a less than ideal job of the install, and then for that reason, the end user was looking at either doing a different installer or a different system. And the original dealer, once they kind of found out that they were not going to, didn't have a great job or chance of winning this job, they went ahead and just replaced the original PDK system with a much older, antiquated system. It was what it was. We didn't win that job. That's okay. We don't win them all. However, somebody then propped a door, and there's no notifications or anything with this older system. And a freaking black bear got into the church and into the school and went around causing chaos and havoc and like ripping, like pews to shreds and stuff. It was a huge story on the news. And there's all this video surveillance footage of this bear that was going around. It was crazy. And the bear got in because of a prop door. Eventually that bear, they got it out of the school, and then the next day we won that PO. Yeah, so that is one big thing, right? PDK is bear proof because of our door position sensors.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah, pretty cool, right? That's a wild story, but it is 100% factual.
All right.
So anyway, install a door position sensor to protect your end user's life and property.
Property.
Yeah. So anyways.
From bears.
So door position sensors is a big thing that, prop alarms is a big thing that door position sensors can create.
Correct. Yeah, prop alarm is probably the most popular one that people use the DPS for. But also with a DPS, you can also integrate a forced alarm.
Yeah.
Which means that it's basically like an intrusion alarm. If somebody opens the door without scanning a badge, or a Rex event happening, it'll set off an alarm. Well, it'll set off a notification, and you can do whatever you want with that. With
that input, you can go ahead and have it send you an instant notification. Mm-hmm. You can have it sound a piezo alarm. Yep. You can have it do all sorts of lock down a system if you wanted to. Correct. Right? You can have it do a number of different things. Yep. The system's very intuitive and very smart.
Yep. We actually have a dealer. I have a story about that if you don't mind. We've got a dealer that I was talking to about a forced alarm. And they wanted to know if they could set it up to notify the police. And I said, we don't have that. We don't have the option to make an outbound phone call. And so they called me back a half an hour later and said that the police actually gave them, or the local sheriff gave them a text message number. They can send a text message to that said, hey, this door got opened without proper authorization, and they were able to send somebody over. So it kind of worked out like that too. Pretty sweet plan for that. I don't know if that works everywhere. Yeah. It's a pretty small town, but that was a pretty cool story about them using the force alarm that way.
That's way cool.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of different varieties of door position sensors out there, right? There's the kind that you have to actually core out a door and put them in there. Yep. There's kinds that are just, you can flush mount them to the door itself, and it's just a little, right to the frame. Have you seen that one works better than another, or do you see that it's just dependent upon the door?
The biggest thing about them is you have to make sure they're lined up properly.
Yeah.
And I find that the flush mount ones are easier to line up. Generally speaking, you screw down the wire, the piece that has the wires, and the other piece has just got some 3M foam tape on it. Mm-hmm. You just stick that to it. It's a lot easier to get it lined up that way.
Yeah.
Where the ones where you have to put the piece in the door, then a piece up in the frame, just got to make sure you get those lined up properly.
I agree.
The ones that I don't like, if I can say something I don't like, are the bond sensors in the mag locks.
Okay.
Those ones tend to have more problems for that same reason of lining them up, because there's a little sensor on the armature plate of a mag lock that it has to hit in the exact right place of the electromagnet. And if it is not lined up, they just won't work very well. So I generally recommend people put in a flush mount or the recessed ones into the door rather than using the bond sensor ones on the mag lock.
And so when they're installing these door position sensors, what is the way that you would go about doing that? Do you run the wires through a door frame? Do you core them all the way through a door and up and into the controller? How does that usually work?
So the ones that you would never need to core a door necessarily, you would just drill a hole in the top of the door to put the one piece in, and then the other piece that has the wires would go up into the frame. Mm-hmm. You just run that up the wall right to the door. So if you're doing a single door controller, it'd be right above the door.
Yeah.
Run a couple wires up the wall to the door. If it's going, to a home run kind of situation on an R4 or even an R2, I guess, wouldn't be right above the door maybe. You just do the same thing, run the wires up, and then run them across the ceiling however you need to. It just needs a two pair wire, 22 gauge.
And then 22 gauge wire, that's a pretty affordable wire. Mm-hmm. And then the door positions themselves are what, $10-15?
Yeah, very cheap.
Dude, I mean, at that point, think about everything that you are offering your customer by just simply tying, or adding in a $15 part and a little bit of extra wire that you're pulling in the first place.
Yep.
So, dude, it's a crazy benefit for the customers.
And a lot of times we get phone calls in support asking how do they monitor the doors, and we let them know about the DPS. And a lot of times they wish they would have known about it, or not necessarily that the PDK didn't tell them about it, but they would have known about it as a company to install these DPSs, because now they run all the wires and they got to go back and run the wires again to get the DPSs there.
You're doubling your labor expense at that point.
Yeah, exactly. If you just put it in part as the bid, just put DPSs on every door. Another cool thing is it doesn't even have to be on a door that has access control.
That is true, right?
So you don't even have to be, it can be on a warehouse, an exterior warehouse door where they just want to know if the door's open or closed. You can run it to our new AUX 8.
You totally stole my thunder.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Keep going.
You can just have the inputs on there. And monitor however, up to 8 doors with that board that don't necessarily have to have access control on them.
Yeah. So Jeremy just talked about our new AUX 8. That new AUX 8 is going to be out this month, and we're really excited about its capability. So it is an 8-port monitoring. It's an input-output board that we've got. It has all of the inputs for something like a door position sensor. It's also got your wet contact relays if you ever needed to trigger certain things. But one of its main focuses, and a very popular option and reason why people are wanting it, is because they can monitor other doors throughout the building that might not necessarily need access control. With a reader at it, right?
Yep.
So that's a huge benefit for it. So be looking for that AUX 8. It is going to be available this month in all of your local distributors. So reach out to them and also reach out to us, and we'll be able to help you out with getting that part put into your bids. Yep. So pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Jeremy, we are just about out of time on this episode of the Big Access Podcast. Do you have anything else DPS that we may have missed?
One thing that just came to mind is a lot of times we get asked if we recommend a certain brand of DPS.
Okay.
I've never had one good or bad experience with any brand of DPS. They're a pretty basic piece of equipment. So just whichever ones you can find. Like I said earlier, the flush mount ones I find are easier to get the alignment just right, so you don't have any false reads on the DPS itself. But yeah, just pick them up when you pick up your equipment at whatever distributor you're going to, and add it to your system, add it to your bid right out of the gate, and just plan for it. It makes this access control system just way better. Way better, right? Way better. Anyways, that's all the time that we've got today. Thanks for joining us this week, Jeremy. We're going to definitely be having you on more to talk about this kind of stuff. People love hearing from you, straight from a tech support genius who has also done all the installations himself. So anyways, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast, leave it a 5-star rating, and reach out and let us know if there's anything in particular that you are looking to learn. We'll see you next time. See ya.